don't play well, but give Yukon a lot of credit.
Oh,
They're coached extremely well, whether you like Dan Hurley or not. The damn dude can coach. He's a pain in the ass, but he can coach.
I've,
And it was a great win. JC, you're on the Titan More Hotline, courtesy of Comfort Tent. What's up?
I mean, I wouldn't mind Dan Hurley coaching my team. Hell no, he knows how to win. Listen,
He gave us fits, man. Their
yeah,
plan was outstanding, and my
yeah,
guy just decided to, you know what? I'm
I'm
taking.
going to win the game. Yeah, I'm just going to go win the game.
Yeah,
That's what Walt said.
I'm saying I
Walt,
still think I've said people that watch this show. I've said it
you
since
love.
freaking December. He's the best player we ever had here, and I will go to my grave saying that.
He hit obviously the two big threes, but I thought Will Richard hit some big shots, and their offensive rebound off those free throws. I think that was a big key for sure. Martin really came through for the Gators, and then Hawk hit those two free throws, and that's kind of overlooked. But he needed to make those, and he did. So it was a real battle of grind. I don't know if any team other than maybe last year's Yukon team has ever gone through the tournament in 6 games with breathers. There's always been that one or maybe even 2 games that the eventual champion has won that were, down to the wire. And so for Florida, this was one of those occasions, and certainly Yukon has that championship pedigree, and they were a tough team to beat, and certainly a tough out. And I think, given now that Todd Golden has won his first 2 games in the big dance in his career, his ceiling is to the finals, and so hopefully that will happen. Obviously, they're going to have a very good game against a very good team that hit a buzzer beater in the Maryland Terrapins, and so everybody's going to look forward to that and has that to look forward to this Thursday in San Francisco. I mean, why wouldn't Florida and Maryland play in San Francisco? So, folks, Delta does have a one-stop to Atlanta and over, and then I think maybe even a nonstop from Orlando out to San Francisco. You may have to stop in Salt Lake City, but you can do it, Gator fans. There's Sweet 16, and
Well, JC, there's a lot of Gator fans that
I
live out
know.
that way that don't got to get on a plane.
No, they don't. They don't. California, though, San Francisco. I don't know how many Gator fans live in San Francisco. But I will tell you that
I wouldn't choose to live there.
no, it's not cheap, man. It's not cheap to live there. But hey, this is a situation where this team had to have somebody step up and take over. And at 50, or no, when they were down 61-50, anyway, Clayton hit the 2 shots basically from the same spot. And driving on I-10 and listening to it on the radio was just brought me back to the days of imagining what's going on as you hear the guys. This guy on Westwood 1 did a great job as I'm on I-10 going through Pensacola, because that's where I was when the Gators were winning it. And it was just really cool to go through. I would have liked to watch it, but I was driving.
It was a great game. Like I said, I thought Yukon, their physicality and they got a very
They're Yukon.
very in-depth offensive scheme that they run that gave us fits when we were switching. We were leaving guys wide ass open. Thank goodness they couldn't make shots. But they're coached very well. That's why they are your 2-time defending national champs. But we made enough plays. There was a huge play in the game that I just thought was going to cost us the game. We got a breakaway. Elijah Martin went for this crazy ass dunk.
Oh, I know.
He didn't make it. We foul. Chinny Lou pushes a guy in the back. They go down and knock down a 3-pointer. It was a 5-point swing.
I do remember that.
That's going to be the backbreaker right there.
That's right.
But it wasn't. The team found a way to win, and they move on. We got a lot of people here talking about on YouTube, brought to you by Quality Plumbing, that the kid from Queen traveled from, I don't know if he did or not. I've looked at it multiple times.
On the Maryland game?
Maryland. I don't know if he did or not.
I don't know either. It's just I feel bad for the Colorado State University Rams. I mean, what have they ever won? And certainly this was their shot, and they had a lead with 3 seconds. And that's the only buzzer beater. There was a bet that there would be a buzzer beater, which means no time left on the clock after the ball is in the air, and that was the only one that hit. So it was heartbreaking off the backboard. I think Colorado State defended it very well. You knew that's who was going to get the ball. That's their best player. And he came through for them. So, March Madness, moment in time. Yeah, most of these games, we had underdogs getting slaughtered, and the favorites were really winning. And I think we said, if you go back about a week or 10 days, we said, or I said, or you said that the chalk was going to hold in this tournament, that the favorites were going to show that they were a level above some of these underdogs like, Lipscomb and Bryant and Mount St. Mary's. And all these teams really, Akron, everybody's telling me how Akron was going to stay with these guys. They got blown out. I mean, so I think you have really.
And he says JC picks with Akron, Mount St. Mary's, and Bryant were all duds.
Yeah,
they see you lost all your people money, dude. How do you feel?
Well, JC has the top 4 seeds going to the Final Four, so JC feels.
JC is Johnny Chalk.
Yeah, I did. I said I thought it was going to be mostly favorites. I remember saying it, and I think Duke is, they're a machine. I think if Houston, that game was closer than it should have been at the end. They won by 5, but they were in control. Tennessee did its thing. Michigan State, I think we're going to have a tremendous Sweet 16. These are the best teams in the country going to actually end up playing, and it's exciting. And Florida is included in that. And I think Maryland's very beatable, very beatable. I mean, Colorado State was with them the whole day. So Florida just has to play well, though. I mean, you're going now 3 time zones, a 6.5-hour flight. It's a long way out there, but Maryland has to do it too. So, they were in Seattle this week.
They're not going to fly. They're not going to fly on the day of the game, JC. They'll be okay.
I'm just telling you, it's a different world, bro. It's a different world. It's when Auburn played Cal.
How many times have you gotten on a plane and go play a sporting event?
0.
QC Kinetics for long last year relief. No service. Go through downtime. Let's go your free consultation at QC Kinetics.
I do go play. I'll play golf if you want to.
They'll be fine. They'll be fine. Okay. Large Fry on YouTube brought to you by Quality Plumbing says Maryland's ceiling is much bigger than Colorado State. But Maryland, in my opinion, is going to play our style of play, and I think that's so much easier.
I
These
agree.
teams that slow it down, like Yukon tried to slow it down at times. They'd milk the shot clock, and it's not a good matchup for us. Maryland's got very good players, better players than Colorado State, but Colorado State's style would give us fits, and I'm glad.
I do too. I think Florida matches up with the Terps. I think they'll run them out of the building.
Yeah. A couple of other news and notes, and we'll talk to Scott Carter from FloridaGators.com. Baseball is 0-6 in the SEC.
Well, I mean,
got run ruled against Georgia a couple of times this weekend. We'll see what's going on there. Congratulations to the Lady Gators. They go to Vegas.
Yeah.
And they hit a buzzer beater to advance in the WBIT tournament. I don't know what that tournament is. I don't know if it's the NIT, women's NIT, or what.
It is.
But they advance. So
congratulations. The Lady Gators advance.
A couple of texts on the Titan MR text line I need to get to here. This is from Monty in Virginia. He says, Shane, neither WRUF or 103.7 The Gator carried the radio broadcast of Norfolk and Yukon game. Can you find out when we can listen to Sean rather than the TV guys for the next game? Okay, so if I'm not mistaken, and I'll try to get the exact way this is worded, but usually a lot of times, if you're not in the local market, like if you're not in where you can just pick it up on the radio, during the NCAA tournament, you're going to have to listen to the national, like you just did, JC. You couldn't go to Sirius and pull up Sean and Lee Humphrey and listen.
Nope, I had Westwood 1.
You had to listen to Westwood 1. But I want to say, if you go to the Varsity app, it's called the Varsity app, I think. Just go to the App Store, type in Varsity, and it's a broadcast deal. I'm pretty sure you can pull up all the local play-by-play guys from each university and listen to it there. So check that out, Monty. Hopefully that answers your question. This text says, I hope weathering the Yukon storm will give Florida more belief, beating the 2-time defending champ.
Yeah.
Look, I mean, if you go back in recent history, other than last year's Yukon team that just destroyed everybody, the national champ always has a game that's close.
That's what I said.
They may have multiple games that are close. Look, it ain't like we struggle with Norfolk State, folks. This is your 2-time defending champ that is coached probably by the best coach in America. And they played well, and we struggled, and we did some things that we haven't done all year long, but we found a way to win the game. Who gives a damn? It has no correlation to what's going to happen against Maryland. Zero.
We need to look at that 14-3 run they went on, the Gators. I mean, that's what won the game. And they were behind the whole nine. And so I think, a championship team goes on that run and gets to the point where it has the chance to close it out. They were up at 8 with under a minute to go, Florida. Let's remember this. Okay, so UConn played very well for the first 36 minutes or so, but Florida went on a 14-3 run. That's indisputable. That's what happened. And they hit shots, clutch shots, and they made a few free throws there at the very, very end. So, and then offensive rebounding off those free throws, QB. That just shows how tough and gritty. I mean, that's the word I like to use. Is Florida was gritty in this win. Yep. And so I don't know. I mean, Duke hasn't had to be gritty. The Auburn Tigers, okay, that you could call them gritty, I suppose, in Houston, but Florida really was at the.
I mean, Auburn struggled with the Blue Jays for a while, and then the last 4 or 5 minutes
got after it.
Question or comment here on Facebook Live brought to you by Melon Law from ACES is good morning, guys. Pretty exciting game yesterday. Really disappointed and kind of alarmed at Dan Hurley's behavior even after the game. His explicitive laced comment. That's him. Look, he's a phenomenal coach. He complains a lot. It drives me nuts. He was cussing going in the tunnel saying, I hope they don't F y'all Baylor like they F'd us, blah, blah, blah.
Sometimes it's tough for guys when they're, they've won 2 championships in a row. They really thought they had a shot to get to the Sweet 16. But he needs to be gracious in defeat, and he needs to recognize that, sometimes you win some and sometimes you lose some. Listen, all that nonsense over the offseason about him going to the Lakers and all that, the fact that he milked UConn and got more money out of them, which he shouldn't have had to do, but that was smart on his behalf. You got to give the guy credit. He knows what the hell he's doing. He really does. You may not like his antics, but you sure do like his record, and especially if you're a Connecticut fan. Now, they're going to have to rebuild that program. We'll see how he can do that. I'm sure he won't have much problem. They're a blue blood program. They are a blue blood program.
Yeah.
From start to finish. UConn is in that elite status of blue bloods. And certainly they were a tough out for Florida. I saw that seed coming down 8-9 game with UConn, and I thought, oh, great. So they're going to have to play those guys. But, whatever. Florida's region, I think, is tougher than Duke's. I think Duke's got a cakewalk to Alabama. And I think, I don't think Oregon or the team that beat them last night, Arizona is going to stay on the court with Duke, and then Duke's going to get to play probably Alabama, but they probably do. They'll do just fine. So I think they had an easy road, and Florida had to be tested, and they passed. So we move on now to Maryland, and then look, Texas Tech is waiting after them. So Florida's got probably 2 of the tougher potential Sweet 16 matchups than any of the other top seeds, if you ask me. Maryland and Texas Tech back-to-back. In all likelihood, it's going to be Texas freaking Tech. And that's another team that plays like that. I think that Florida can do well against, but they're very athletic, and it's not going to be easy. Not at all. Don't fool yourself.
Tony says he wonders on Facebook Live, brought to you by Mel. He says, I wonder if that was Hurley's last game at UConn. No insider info.
He got that big extension last year.
But JC, there could be, I don't know who's looking for a coach in the NBA, but it could be somebody. Who knows? Hell, maybe Texas is going to hire him, although they're saying Sean Miller is going to go to Texas. But we'll see. Large Fry on YouTube brought to you by Quality Plum says Condon had 5 points, need more for him next round. I thought he got affected by the physicality of UConn.
That's why he needs to stay another year.
I'm telling you, man.
He's got to stay another year. He's got to.
I don't think he is ready for that next level.
He's not ready for the Oklahoma City Thunder on a Monday night and the Lakers on a Tuesday night with a Wednesday night off and then a Thursday night in Phoenix. He's not ready for that. And
not even close.
Delusional.
Not even close.
But he's a fine player, and he's going to do well for us for the Gators. And,
he's a good college basketball player. We'll see what happens from there. Switching gears momentarily, Reggie says the Valspar had a great finish yesterday. Hovland shakes off the winless streak. Wasn't surprised the actors stayed low.
And my boy Justin,
it's the thickest I've seen a rough. I love that golf course. They made it hard. And somebody else on YouTube said that Hovland went back to his old swing coach and he wins.
Look at that. Yeah, maybe he just got tired of tinkering around with this game, but he needs to keep his old he needs to keep what was working for him when he was winning the Memorial, when he was challenging in these majors, because he got off track, but he's back on now. I mean, that course did play well. It played hard. It was good to see, and I picked Justin Thomas to win, and he was right there on the doorstep. I think he's gonna pick one up this year. Maybe not a major, but he'll win a tournament.
You know what, here's what JT is really good at.
Yeah,
he's great at making that huge comeback to try to win.
He did at the TPC.
He did it at TPC. He did it this week. The guy, if he could play good on Thursday and Friday, he wouldn't have to do that. But maybe he was out drinking all night on Thursday. Who knows? But you know what I'm talking about? It seems like because he hasn't been in contention, but he always has that one round where he goes really low, breaks a course record or something like that.
Shoots 64, but then he'll key that up with a 73, and that kills him. That absolutely kills him.
Yeah.
I don't know, QB. I love 73s if I get one, but these guys, the 73 is death. It's not. It's a loser. So Rory is going to play probably in Texas at either the Valero or the Houston Open, and then get ready for Augusta. This is the tournament that he's missing, is Augusta. So I think he's primed to win it.
So we got some good tournaments coming up.
Yeah.
And then in 3 weeks we got the best of all. All right, JC, let's talk about this. Sweet 16.
Okay.
The mighty SEC has 7 teams in it.
7 teams.
I mean, you got to tip your hat. I think you and I both picked Ole Miss to go to the Sweet 16.
Better believe it.
Boy, did they just put it on the site.
Hard Rock. Hopefully those folks tailed me on the Ole Miss to the Sweet 16 Hard Rock bet.
Well, somebody on here said they hope your investments are better than your picks.
Oh man, look, I picked dogs, but I on the bracketing, I took dogs with the points, but I picked the favorites on the bracket. My bracket's pretty healthy right now, but you're right. I'm more interested in what the handicapping of it is.
So JC, I don't have a bracket in front of me. I don't know if you do, but obviously Kentucky and Tennessee have to play each other in the Sweet 16. I didn't realize Kentucky has beaten them both times this year.
Yeah, no, that's right.
I don't know if they can do it 3 times. So that means that the SEC could possibly have 5 teams make it to the Elite 8. Think about that.
Yeah, and listen, 7 teams, that's we've got 16 teams in the league. That's almost 50% of the league is still playing basketball. There are only 16 teams left, and you've got almost half of the field. The Big 12 is showing a very strong tournament as well. I think they've won 9 or 10 games themselves. Big 10 has looked okay with Michigan. Wisconsin got beat yesterday. I did say that would happen. I think Florida is, Maryland and Texas Tech potentially are as tough. I mean, I think that's tougher than what Duke is going to have to go through. I think that's tougher than what Houston is going to have to go through. And I think that's definitely tougher than what Auburn's going to go through. Auburn's going to play likely Michigan. If they win, then they will play either Ole Miss or Michigan State. Really? I mean, I don't know. Just the way I look at it, I think Maryland and Texas Tech are we've got a 1 versus 4, a 3 versus 10, a 1 versus 5, a 2 versus a 6, a 1 versus a 4, a 2 versus a 3, and a 2 versus a 6. There you go.
Yeah, all 6 teams. My math was bad. 6 teams can make the Elite 8.
Yeah, it's all math. It's all favorites, though. They're all favorites. So, hey, great game. I think Alabama and BYU could score 200 points in their game. They're going to be running up and down, blasted threes, and if one or both get hot, you're looking. The total in that game is 175.5. What? I mean, 175.5. And by contrast, Houston and Purdue has a total of 132.5. 132, and Purdue has surprised me with getting to the Sweet 16. I didn't think they were as good as a 4 seed, but now they prove that they are, obviously. So,
let me get a couple of these comments here. Andy's question on Facebook Live brought to you by Mel Law says, Shane, was Rosie Colvin a teammate of yours with the Bears? Yes, he was. His son's the 6th man on Purdue. Yeah. Rosie was a good dude.
Is he dead?
No, he's alive.
Oh, you said was a good dude.
Well, I mean, he is a good guy. I mean, he's a good teammate, I should say. No, he's perfectly healthy, as far as I know. He was at his son's game. I saw him showed him in the stands. Gator Art on YouTube, brought to you by Quality Plum, says, Shane, let the people know the radio broadcast This is the local with Sean and Lee for basketball is only on the varsity app. You can't get it on the radio. It's such a joke. It's just not with the Gators. That's for every institution. They go to the Westwood one because they probably paid a lot of money to broadcast this stuff. So if you want to listen to the Gator Radio Network, you have to download the varsity app.
Varsity app. Okay.
Yep. All right. So Chris from Cottondale on the Titan MR text line says Walt is quite possibly the worst defender we've ever had, and I don't think it's close. He plays defense when he wants to. Sometimes he doesn't. I have zero problem with it. Zero.
Walt will win you a game.
Yeah.
Walt will win you a game, and Walt can make clutch shots. Thank you very much, Walt.
This text on the Titan MR text line, I don't know who it's from, says the baseball team is dreadful. No tournament this year. We will talk to Scott Carter about that, but they are 0-6, and it ain't gonna get any easier. This is from Daryl. Says, good morning. Watched the basketball game on my phone on the Gators baseball game yesterday. Even though we got run rule, the basketball game was more important. Lots of baseball left. The baseball crowd erupted when the basketball team won.
Yeah, I can't imagine, and I'm not trying to criticize. Please don't take this the wrong way, folks. But how the hell are you watching a baseball game when the Gators are trying to get to the Sweet 16?
I don't care if I'm with you, JC. If you have to choose to either go to Condron and watch the game or go somewhere and watch it on TV. Now I know people can watch it on their phones,
and I know people love to get outside, vitamin D. It's a great day. Okay, cool. Dude, you're going to the Sweet 16 if you beat Yukon. How are you not looking at that? Well, okay.
Yeah. So, J&J Trucking brings up a great point here. Arkansas started 0-5 in the SEC and has changed.
Great job, Cal.
And a chance to go to the Elite Eight.
Look, man, they stuck it to St. John's. I had.
I watched that game. It was incredible. JC, you know what that game, and I may have already said it on this program, or I said it at the golf course to some guys. I felt like watching Arkansas St. John's play. It was like if you and I and some buddies rolled into the MLK Center somewhere in Brooklyn, New York, and we had downs for the next game. I felt like we were watching a game like in the middle of New York City. None of them can really shoot the basketball very well, but boy, are they athletic as hell and they get after you. You know what I'm talking about? Just street ball. Yeah, that's what I felt like I was watching.
Listen, I think he's done a great job getting Arkansas back off the mat. I mean, they really started slow in the league, got into the tournament. That's all they needed. St. John's has had a great year, and congratulations to Rick Pitino reinvigorating that dead program. But good for Arkansas. I was rooting for the Hogs, man. I was rooting for the Hogs. And I'll tell you what, these Auburn Tiger fans, they love their football. But, man, they are rowdy and loud, and they were really excited about their basketball team in Biloxi this weekend, as were the Mississippi fans. Those people were really loud and rowdy for the Rebs. And Chris Beard, man, look at this guy. What a pickup he's been for them. This SEC, this conference is good because of the coaching that's in this league, if you ask me. I mean, it all starts from the top down. Florida has come back in 3 years under Todd Golden. He's finally won his first national or NCAA tournament games in his career, and he is a youngster. Look at these coaches we have in this league. If you think the SEC is just a one-and-done league, you're crazy. These coaches are so good. I mean, you can go from the top to the bottom, with the exception of maybe one or two that are in transition schools that are in transition right now. But the league is better because of the coaching in the league, and it is tremendous to see 7 out of 16 teams out of the SEC playing basketball next weekend. That's amazing. That's amazing.
This text from Timothy on the Titan MR text line says, Shane, what are your thoughts on Pitino not playing the Big East Player of the Year? Yeah, that was strange. I mean, I know he struggled early in the game, but the last 7 to 8 minutes, JC, he sat on the bench. The Player of the Year in the conference.
Well, what did he say in the press conference? What did he say?
He basically, I saw a clip of it. He basically, so-and-so, whoever the reporter was, he just basically says, let's just say the guy's name was Doug. He says, Doug, you saw the game. Let's not go any farther. I guess he saw him struggling. I don't give a damn how bad he struggled. That would be like putting Walter Clayton on the bench for the last 8 minutes of the game.
Yeah.
Think about that.
You better not. You better not if you want to win. You better not if you want to win. The clutch aspect of the guards that this team has is the difference maker. I know the big guys are huge, and I know they've got a lot of height on this team, but man, the guards win it for you in these tournaments, if you ask me. I think I've seen so many. When Michigan State under Tom Izzo won their one and only championship under Tom Izzo, it was because of that guard. And when they won their tournament
The guard
under
played all the match. Guard plays the key, the biggest
Judd
key
Heathcote,
in
and when Judd Heathcote coached Michigan State to a championship, it was because of their guard. A guy played for the Lakers. I think we all know who he is. The guards are the answer, and that's what Florida has. And man, this Maryland game is going to be fun, but I love Florida's matchup with them. I really do. I really like the matchup here.
This Day in Sports brought to you by Campus USA Credit Union. Puts a star power to work in your financial life. Campus USA Credit Union. Back in 1980 in the NCAA basketball championship, the Louisville Cardinals beat UCLA 59-54. The Cardinals' first title. I think that was Denny Crum as their head coach.
Daryl Griffith was their guy.
All right. Text on the Titan our text line. Chris from Cottondale. He also says, if Walt wouldn't make us play 4-on-5 on defense, he wouldn't have to win the game. Great player. Glad he's on our team, but dreadful on defense. And he absolutely walks around continuous on defense. He helps a lot. He helps a lot on defense. I hear what you're saying, Chris, but hell, some of our other guys didn't play great defense either in this game. We had guys wide ass open. Thank God Yukon could not make a shot.
There you go. Yeah. Maryland will be tough too. It's not going to get easy for Florida. And then Texas Tech after that. Although Texas Tech's going to play Arkansas, and you just never know, right? The way the Hogs are going. I don't know if there's a Cinderella story in this tournament. I don't think there really is. I think everybody's highly rated and highly ranked and highly thought of. But it's the best of the best, and I'm kind of liking that. I mean, sometimes we get excited about, the Cinderella story is great, Villanova. I like seeing the best teams play, and we've got them. I think we've got them. I think we've got the best teams, the 16. Yeah,
we got. It's gonna be fun, no question about it.
I'm all top seeds in my bracket. First time since 07-08 that happened. They talk about leagues, who's the best league. In 2011, the Big East had 11 teams. There's no Big East teams left right now. They're gone. They're all out. But the SEC and the top seeds, this was, I think, a favorite heavy bracketing, and I think the NCAA, that's kind of the way they made it. That's Duke. Duke's path. They're playing practice games right now, so they're going to kill Arizona. God.
I don't know about that. Arizona can match up with them, JC.
Yeah. Caleb Love better score 45 points. I hope you're right.
Matchup.
I hope you're right. And
if Duke misses some shots, crazy things can happen.
Okay. Maybe you're right. Maybe you're right.
It's score.
I get it. But, okay. Yeah, maybe you're right.
Duke is extremely talented. They're the tallest team in America. They got probably the best player in America.
They're 9.5-point favorites. So they're the biggest favorite in the Sweet 16 on the spread.
And they're playing Arizona?
In Newark, New Jersey.
Yeah.
They're the biggest favorite. And they're 9.5-point favorites. So your next highest favorite is Houston at 7.5 over Purdue. And then you've got Florida at 6.5 and Auburn at 7.5. So those are your favorites. Those are your bigger favorites. Lots of points. Points.
I just think it's going to be funny if it happens where the SEC has 4 teams in the Final Four.
I think that would be cool.
Can you imagine?
Yeah.
How crazy and how people around the country are going to lose their
the Big Ten the Big Ten. I have a Big Ten friend in Tallahassee. The Big Ten's looking great. And they did. They had a good run. But they don't like the SEC. There's something about those folks in the Big Ten. They just, I think it's because of all the beatings they've taken in football that really kind of irritates them about the SEC. It's understandable. It is. I get it. But you don't have as many good athletes. I'm sorry. They're mostly in the South. That's just the way it is. Sorry.
All right, JC, have a good day. We'll talk to you on Wednesday. Study your golf picks.
Yeah. Well, I had Thomas this week and Rory last week. Okay. So you call me Johnny Chalk, but I like to win. Top 2 and top front 1 last 2 weeks there at QB.
Yeah. All right. That's JC. Join us on the Titan Number Hotline, courtesy of Comfort Temp. Quick timeout. We'll come back. We'll be joined by Scott Carter from FloridaGators.com. He was probably at the ballpark yesterday, is my
He had a
guess.
job. Well, Scott had a job, so he had to work. I get it. But
But
Mike,
I'm pretty sure Scott was watching basketball more than he was watching baseball if he was there. He could have easily stayed home and watched the basketball game and
okay,
listened to baseball or something. I don't know. We'll find out.
okay. All
Have
right.
a good day. That's JC. Join us on the Titan MR Hotline, courtesy of Comfort Temp. Quick timeout. We'll be right back. You're watching and listening to PodUp with Matthews in the morning from the International Diamond Center Studios. We'll be right back.
Our premium sponsors are Campus USA Credit Union,
International Diamond Center,
Meldon Law, QC Kinetics, Dave & Buster's, UF Health Orthopedics and Sports Medicine Institute, JF Hayden Craft Liqueurs, Florida Cracker Kitchen, Los Linderos Tequila. Gridiron sponsors are Baker Sporting Goods, Comfort Temp, Electronics World, Florida Victorious, Gallo Car Wash, Miapa Latin Cafe, Peachland Dental, Quality Plumbing, Ruse Ogre State Farm, Silverback Concrete, 84 Lumber, Big Mills Cheesesteak, Celebrate Primary Care, Dowling Sign, Gator Bait Media, Gator Dominoes, Ironwood Golf Course, Okido America, Tropical Smoothie Cafe, UF Bookstores, Nest and Wow, MG and A Wealth Management. Watch and listen to us live on Facebook and YouTube. Listen to the podcast whenever on Apple or Google Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you listen to your favorite podcast. Remember to like, follow, and subscribe so you don't miss an episode. To become a sponsor, call my man Freddie at 352-284-3733.
Unleash the Inferno.
Hi there, this is Coach Steve Spurrier, and I want to let you know that by popular demand, Spurrier's Gridiron Grill's delicious brunch is now served in a premium buffet. You have spoken, we have listened, and we're now serving Gainesville's only elevated buffet, complete with an omelet station, ginger sage chicken sausage, shredded short rib, and of course our chicken and waffles. Plus, you can enjoy bottomless mimosas and Bloody Marys. So join us every Saturday and Sunday from 11 to 3 for the best brunch in town.
What's up, everyone? I'm Mike Pouncey, and this is my twin brother Marquise Pouncey, and this is Life After Football.
Let's go. We are the owners of Tropical Distillery, and JF Hayden's is our liqueur brand.
We have 5 different flavors: a mango, a lychee, an espresso, citrus, and key lime pie. We pride ourselves on not only being a Florida-made brand, but also a cocktail solution. With that being said, cheers
And go Gators.
Welcome back to the International Diamond Center Studios. There are many car washes in Gainesville, but only one Gallo Car Wash, locally owned by UF alum and the only car wash that provides NIL opportunities to Gator athletes. Locations on Northwest 13th Street and Southwest Wilson Road, and coming soon to Jonesville. Back to the Titan MR Hotline, courtesy of Comfort Temp. It is our man, Scott Carter, who is a senior writer for FloridaGators.com. What's up, Scott? Big weekend for the Gators. Basketball, women's and men's.
Yeah, how about that? The women getting that buzzer beater, but obviously the men were the headliners, and man, that was a heck of a game yesterday. Shane, just one of the better basketball games I've seen in the tournament.
Yeah, I was watching, and look, whatever you want to talk, and we've talked about it with JC on here. Dan Hurley's a prick, okay?
Yeah,
But the dude knows how to coach. He's one of those guys. If he's your coach, you love him. If he's
yes.
your opposing coach, you can't stand him because he whines and complains. But he had a tremendous plan. They run a very detail-oriented offense that gave us fits. I mean, they had some dudes running wide open for shots. But it was a great win for us. Our guys gutted it out, and we advanced. That's all that matters. How we played against Yukon, we missed free throws. I get it. Everybody's timing in. We got to make our free. I get it. That has no correlation to what's going to happen in San Fran against the Maryland Terrapins. Nothing.
No.
But boy, it's just survive and advance.
Yeah, I don't think there is perfection in the NCAA tournament. And, the Gators probably, if they win it all, they probably won't have a tougher challenge than they had yesterday by beating Yukon. I mean, Yukon, like you said, Hurley is a great coach, like him or not. I mean, remember the Lakers offered this guy the job in the offseason, and he decided to stay at Yukon. So that tells you how well respected he is in the game. And they did have a great plan, but guess what? The Gators answered that, and they won the game. They went on that 8-0 run. Could they have won it easier if they made some free throws? Certainly. I mean, if you're talking about the free throws after that win, I think you're probably missing the bigger picture. That's like I don't know. It's just not relevant right now. But yeah, they're going to have to shoot some free throws better if the game is in the final minute and it's tied. But unfortunately for Gators, that wasn't the case. They had a little cushion after that 8-0 run. So again, just a big win, biggest Florida basketball win since obviously Chioza's shot to beat Wisconsin back in 17, and we'll see if they keep it going.
It's not a concern. It's just I text a couple people curious. I guess I'm curious
Yep.
because, and it's not just this game, it's happened at other games. When teams press us, we sometimes have trouble getting the ball in bounds. And I've never seen us run the play where, Walter's usually our inbound guy,
Mm-hmm.
where say Will Richard runs behind the baseline, Walter throws it, it's still not in play yet. You know what I'm talking about? Down the baseline, and now Walter, because that messes up the defense. I've never seen us do that where other teams do it. Because at the end there, it kind of got shaky with our inbound plays, if you know what I'm saying. I mean, Walter
Yeah,
threw a
we
high
saw it.
ball that Hawk couldn't come down with. We turn it over, and we had another turnover, and it was getting kind of scary there at the end.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if that's stuff that they talk about this week because we saw that in the Arkansas game the other night. They had a similar situation where they had to call 2 timeouts because he never ran the baseline to get the ball in. Finally, Calipari said, "We're going to get somebody else in
Yep.
there." They got the ball in. So I just think it's one of those situations that doesn't pop up that often. So I think that's something to be stressed in practice this week. I was getting some tweets yesterday. Well, don't they ever practice free throws? Yes, they
No, they
practice.
don't. They never do. Never.
They practice free throws every day. It's just, hey man, in the heat of the moment out there, you're gonna miss some. I mean, that's why you'll see a 90% free throw shooter miss one in the final minute with the game on the line. It's human nature. But I mean, I don't have the numbers in front of me. I think they missed 12 yesterday. Obviously, you're gonna want to reduce that some. And I'm sure they'll take extra free throws this week and stuff. But again, man, they won the game, so I don't care if they were 0 for 20 in the free throw lines, only
Yeah,
win the game. I don't care.
I agree. It was a great, great, great win, for sure. Let's switch gears briefly. Baseball. John on YouTube, brought to you by Quality Plumbing, says, Scott, are we getting some of our injured pitching back soon?
Yeah, I mean they're hoping. I know obviously with Pierce Capola, he's going to throw this week, I think. But the way I look at that, Shane, I mean anything he gives you is just kind of gravy at this point with his career and his body. I don't know. You can't really count long term on that. But if he were to come back and be able to pitch consistently, what a boost that would be. Obviously, Peterson missing his start, that was kind of concerning. So we'll just have to see what that is. They're without Frank Menendez the whole year now with the elbow. That's a big loss from the bullpen standpoint. The left-handed reliever in there, he's the one that was most consistent and had the most experience. So it's just really it's trial by fire right now, Shane. He's going to have to roll a lot of young guys out there like he did against Georgia. And quite frankly, it was pretty ugly. And they're either going to get better and they'll start turning this thing around and get better pitching, or there are going to be some other weekends like that in the SEC. Maybe not as bad as Georgia and Tennessee, because let's face it, those both are top 5 teams in the country, and Florida is going to win its share, I think, in the league. But this right now is a team that obviously has some concerns with the pitching and injuries. I think Kay Curlin, we saw him a little back this weekend, so getting him back will be good. And you look at the stats. I mean, the offense is not that problem. Their average, their on base percentage is good. It's just that they've had some key injuries, and especially the pitching staff. I mean, you lose some of your top guys there, you're not going to be as good as you thought you were, and that's kind of what's happened right now.
James on the Titan MR text line says, Scott, is this the worst start in conference play that Sully's ever had?
It is. I think the previous worst was 0-3 back in 17. They lost 3 in a row to Auburn, and obviously went on to win the College World Series that year. So, 0-6 certainly not expected. There's not much way to sugarcoat it, but at the same time, I think just with the injuries and with the competition, the opponents, it was kind of a perfect storm that worked against the Gators. So we'll see if they can get back on track in Jacksonville against Florida State. They won over in Tallahassee a couple weeks ago, and you felt good going into the SEC play. But then, the last 2 weekends have been anything but good. So again, I think you're just gonna. We've heard this before. I mean, in baseball, it's different than some other sports. I mean, the season has all these different almost chapters, and one can look a lot different than the other. They started really nice. They're in a really bad place right now. So now we're going to see if they can get some of these guys back, and most importantly, just get some improvement from young guys. I mean, if you come to Florida and you want to play on the biggest stage, I mean, some guys who maybe we didn't expect to see this early in their career, we're getting to see them right now. So we're getting to see what they're made of.
Yeah, for sure. I haven't looked at this week's schedule. Who's their midweek game, and who do we have conference-wise this weekend?
Yeah, they've got Florida State over in Jacksonville, and then they go to Ole Miss. So,
Oh,
like I said, it's not going to get any easier in the SEC. But you look at Texas A&M. I mean, they were the prohibited number one team. I think they started 0-5 in SEC play. I don't know if they won yesterday. It happens. We saw this Florida team last season. Not many people thought they would be in the College World Series, obviously, out mid-season. And the Gators are a long way from that talk right now, obviously. They just got to win some SEC games. But we'll see if they can turn it around.
Large Fry on YouTube brought to you by Quality Plum says, Scott, do you know if Maryland is flying back home from Seattle and then flying to San Fran, or are they staying out west? I didn't realize they played in Seattle, but my guess would be they did not go back to Maryland.
I would imagine they would have stayed. I mean, certainly if they went back, I think that would be a pretty bad decision by the administrators. So
Yeah.
I would hope that they would just fly to San Francisco, and not only from a cost standpoint, but also just, I mean, there's, give them a chance to kind of stay on the same time zone. But yeah, it's a good question, because if they did fly back, you got to think, well, that might be a little advantage for the Gators there.
Yeah, I seriously doubt they flew back, because you got to remember the game is Thursday. They're going to have the media and their shoot around and all that on Wednesday. They would have
Yeah.
got back late this morning. Yeah, there's no way. Speaking of that, and we'll probably have Chris Harry on at some point this week, but do you know when we're flying out there? I'd probably think Tuesday.
Yeah, I mean, if the first game's Thursday, yeah, I would fly out Tuesday.
I think we play at 7:39 Thursday night. I thought I saw that this morning.
Yeah, because they'll do media out there Wednesday, and you're always out there a day early the night before. So I would imagine they'll leave Tuesday afternoon and get out there, and then hopefully I'm looking forward if they can make it to San Antonio, Shane. I'm going to try to join up with them, so we'll see. But it's a fun at March Madness, man. I was really into that game yesterday, man.
You tell me about it. I was just thinking, I mean, yeah, I don't get real excited. I mean, not like people won't see it, but inside I was freaking, my stomach was churning.
Yeah.
It
It
was
was
great.
nerve-wracking, man, because I
It
mean,
was
I
very
really
nerve-wracking.
thought I was doing the instant recap here to help Chris out. I'll be honest with you, I was already kind of leaning toward writing the disappointing loss, and they just turned it down in an instant, man. So it was
Yeah,
a
I kept thinking, Hurley is such a great coach. He has just hand tied us, and his plan is just bugging the hell out of us. We can't do what we want to do, but they found a way to get it done. David's question on Facebook Live brought to you by Melo. What are the chances Golden moves on after the season, considering the investigation earlier this year? That's all under the table now, right?
I mean, the investigation is under the table from the UF and the Title IX office's perspective. Uh, I'm sure that Todd Golden will have interest, but I would imagine. I mean, I think he still has. I don't know. I think he still has 2 years on his
Well, they
contract.
gave him a new deal last year, I believe, if I'm
Yeah,
not
so I think they give
mistaken.
him. So yeah, I mean, I don't see him going anywhere. I mean, we've seen his assistants.
Yeah,
Obviously,
yeah,
anything can happen, right? Like
yeah.
the Lakers came after Dan Hurley after last season, and they were willing to pay whatever they had to get him if he wanted it. He turned them down to stay at Yukon. So anything can happen. But as of right now, I think Todd Golden's going to be the Florida basketball coach
Yeah.
for a while.
Mike says Texas will throw a lot of money at Golden. I'm pretty sure I read where Sean Miller,
Yeah,
who coached at
your
Xavier,
coach.
who
Yeah, he's
actually knocked Texas out of the tournament. And they've already been in talks. Supposedly he's going to be their next coach. So
yeah. I think
I don't see
that
Todd Golden going anywhere. I do think he's going to lose more than that one assistant that's been announced, though.
Yeah, well, Kevin Hovde, it's already, it's out there. He's going to Columbia to be head coach. And you had the other guy go to Campbell. So,
Campbell.
so I think, that's going to happen. We saw it with Billy Donovan, with John Pelfrey and Anthony Grant. And, that's fine. Good coaches are able to bring other good assistants in. And I think it's a good thing. But you definitely, what Todd Golden has done on the basketball court can't be denied. I mean, they are an impressive, the way he's built this team, just very impressive.
Yep, for sure. Andy's question, Facebook Live brought to you by Mel. Scott, will there be a permanent acknowledgement of Walter Clayton's first team All-American selection on campus?
That's a good question. I know some people mentioned a brick and that kind of thing.
I
I
think they
know,
should put a big old plaque like outside the O'Connell Center, like a
yeah,
plaque on the wall.
something. Yeah, I mean, I would hope that they would, because it's something new. It's an opportunity to kind of create a new tradition. And, first of all, it was amazing to me that we hadn't had a first team All-American. But then again, you look back and you look at the history of college basketball in the SEC, you kind of get why. But yeah, I would think that in time there'll be some acknowledgement in a public space, hopefully, for that, because it's something you want to celebrate. And the guy, man, I mean, 13 points in the last 8 minutes yesterday. And, everybody on social during the game, well, Walt's just having a bad game, or they're clamping down on Walt. But, great players do what he did. He took over the game when he had to. And that's why we're talking about it right now.
Well, the early in the game, I didn't feel like he shot enough. I was like, dude, quit passing the basketball. Shoot.
Yeah, but, I mean, you could tell the strategy was to really clamp down on him by Yukon. And I thought they did a really good job of that. But you're right, he had a couple of chances where you could probably let it fly. But he also wanted to get other guys involved. Elijah Martin was the guy early, and then you had, I thought, Will Richard really boost him in the second half to keep him in the game. And then, of course, Walt took back over. So it was those three senior guards who all had their fingerprints all over that victory.
Yep. Electronics World integration and design specialist for smart home automation and entertainment, affordable local installation service and support. Check them out. electronicsworld.net. A few more minutes here with Scott Carter from FloridaGators.com. Boy, I don't know who this is from, but this text on the Titan MR text line. Who would replace Sully if he ever left? We're not even going to go there.
Well, I mean, one day he will leave. That's
he will. And I've asked Sully this. He comes on my show every year before, and I don't know if I asked him this year, but I've asked him before. It's amazing to me how guys like him, Skip Berkman, Augie Garrido, all these well-known coaches that have had so much success, they never get offered major league jobs. Isn't that weird? It's because, the major leagues always go into their farm systems of people who are managing the AA team, but it's just, I don't know if it's ever happened that
I think
coach jumped.
I think that's a good question. I don't know in history. I do know that, with the way the game has kind of become more like major leagues in the last decade or so, they were really different games for a long time, Shane. But I think now you might see that. It was interesting, like the Georgia coach, Wes Johnson. Now, he was the Twins pitching coach, the Major League Twins, for 4 seasons. He was there with Rocco Baldelli up until 2022. And of course, now he's the head coach at Georgia. So you see it on the other end. And I think you're seeing some former major league players, coaching college, like Jose Cruz Jr. out at Rice, although I think he just maybe got canned. But you know what? It's a good question, because, I mean, is there any question in my mind that Sully, baseball-wise, could be a major league manager? No, there's not. I think the biggest difference is, in college, the coach is the program. He's the face.
Yeah.
In a Major League Baseball, you got to listen to the players more, and you also have to listen to the analytics guys more, which I think hurts the game in some way.
All right, so Scott, gymnastics, they just had the SEC meet. I think Oklahoma won it or LSU. I can't remember. What did we come in third place? But we had some girls have scored some tens on some apparatus. Where do we go from here? Because I can't ever keep up with gymnastics. It seems like it lasts forever.
Yeah, well, now they'll be regional. They're going to have a week off, and then they'll go to regional, Shane. And of course, you got to advance out of there to go to nationals. So there's two more meets over the next month, and it's a good time for them to kind of just body maintenance, refine their technique. It's been a long season. With the SEC championship, it could have easily been a preview of the national championship because Oklahoma, LSU, Florida are all likely to be in Fort Worth for an NCAA championship.
Eight teams move on to the championship, or just four?
It's eight. It's eight. So there's two days, kind of like the setup for the conference. But so that's where they are. I mean, you're right. They had some tens. Leanne Wong and Selena Harris Miranda turned in tens, and I think Raleigh McCusker had a big 10 on bars, so that was big for her. So it's really going to come down, as it always are they going to be spot on at the biggest event of the year? And if they are, they have a chance. If not, they're probably going to finish third or fourth. So that's just the reality. So we'll see.
Yeah. So good stuff as always, Scott. You got some good articles that people can look at that you're working on floridagators.com?
Yeah, everybody's obviously basketball right now. I get it. I'm gonna bounce over to spring football. I'm writing something over there tomorrow, and also just I want to do a little deep dive on this Jacoby Jackson kid. I like this kid. He's got a very interesting story that a lot of people don't know about. So I'm gonna hopefully be able to share that and just give a little insight into him and yeah, just some spring football. And like I said, hopefully if the Gators, I'll help Chris from here, and if they go to San Antonio, I'll team up and we'll pack the coverage out there. And I'm sure he's got some good stuff planned on basketball. He's doing a great job on the coverage. So
Yeah.
check it out.
So well, hopefully UAA will get Scott Carter a flight out to San Antonio if it happens. Scott, good stuff as always, buddy. Appreciate it.
All right. See you.
That's Scott Carter joining us on the Titan More Hotline, courtesy of Comfort Temp. For sprains, strains, and minor fractures, UF Health Orthocare makes it convenient for you 7 days a week, including evenings. Walk-ins are welcome. Go check them out. UF Health Orthopedics and Sports Medicine. Appreciate everybody chiming in. Thanks, JC and Scott Carter. And we'll recap Maryland. Get ready for Maryland. Keep recapping this all week. Good times in Gator sports right now. Baseball, I think we'll get it turned around. Have a great day, folks. Take care.